A huge 3 weeks to go in the US presidential race. I read your piece, your column with interest in the newspaper today, and your analysis points to the polling shifting in Trump's direction, the betting markets shifting in Trump's direction. You do put the caveat, though, the question, do the pollsters have the surveys corrected for their underestimates previously on Trump's support?
Yeah, so at the last 2 presidential elections, the polls very substantially underestimated Trump. If they do that again, the election's already over. Trump's won by a mile. But there's no guarantee they've done it again. The state-based polls in America have been pretty inaccurate, often by 6 or 7 or 8 points. The national poll tends to be a bit closer. It's all down now to 7 battleground states. You could even say 3 Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania. Trump needs to win one of those. If he wins one of those, he almost certainly wins the presidency. Now, the average of polls puts Trump just ahead in the battleground states. Harris has the better ground campaign, like the Teals. At our last election, she has squillions of dollars of corporate money, so she's got lots of full-time professionals getting out the vote and so forth. It's still intensely unpredictable, but because Trump seems to be edging ahead, I also strongly predict we'll get big October surprises and Election Day surprises from the Democrats. I would say an extravagant new legal action against Trump and some extravagant revelation which Trump doesn't have time to counter. Those tactics have proven ineffective for the Democrats so far, but even if they shift 50,000 votes, that could be the result. I think it's going to be a very fascinating day to watch, and my guess would be it all comes down to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, like Florida, and I know you made that comparison, Florida back in the day in the Gore-Bush election. I loved neither candidate comes out looking great off the back of your piece, so your analysis of both of them. 1, appalling performances in interviews recently. 2, in Trump, 20% of what he says is absolute rubbish.
Yeah, 20% of what Trump says is crazy or nuts or lies. And Harris can't even do a sympathetic interview. I mean, John Howard wrote last weekend, these are 2 terrible candidates. They're not the people you'd choose to be president of the United States. I think, though, and this is a controversial judgment, Trump will spend a lot more money on defence than Biden did or than Harris would. Under the Biden-Harris defence budget, there's no way they can afford AUKUS. They cannot produce enough nuclear-powered submarines to sell any to us. So I think there's a respectable case that in this lesser of 2 evils, or this evil of 2 lessers, Trump would be a little better for Australia because he'll produce a stronger America with a bigger defence budget.
No, I enjoyed reading your piece, and that conclusion I thought made, there's definitely a common sense, and as with most of your judgments, there was a justification for it. Let me ask you, though, I want to get you to, if I go the devil's advocate, what happens if Trump, the transactional Trump, say, offloads Taiwan to China as part of a grand deal? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that is a possibility, and that would be a disaster. Disastrous possibilities are available under either scenario. It's quite clear that America is not spending enough on defence. America can't handle a Middle East crisis and an Asian crisis at the same time. Half the American Navy is in the Middle East now. If China took action against Taiwan, America doesn't have the resources in the Pacific to deal with it. So that's the danger under Biden-Harris, and it'll get worse under Harris because she's to the left of Biden and she's always been in favour of cutting defence. Under Trump, there is a danger that he does a big deal with Xi Jinping and gives Taiwan away. I think, honestly, that danger is fairly small because Trump won't do anything that makes him look weak. And the Republican Party and the Congress would hate a deal like that. And Trump can't run again, doesn't want to be impeached again, and will want something like a successful presidency. The possibility of disaster under Trump is certainly there. But actually, in foreign policy, his first-term record was pretty good. We got the Abraham Accords. We got more defence spending. We got, he called out China pretty effectively. But it's absolutely right. Either one of these folks could give us a very suboptimal outcome.
Greg Sheridan, love it. Thanks as always. We'll talk to you next week.